All right, today we're going to cover the slopes of parallel and perpendicular lines from our Chapter 3 packet. Now we have learned about slope prior to this, where we counted rise and run. So for each of these lines, we've got multiple points on here. We can find the rise and run for each of those points. For example, A to B has a rise of -2, a run of 3. So this would be a slope of -2/3. If I do C to D, I can see that my rise is +3, my run is +4, so my slope is 3/4. E to F, I can see my rise is 3, my run is 4, so 3/4, rise over run. And then E to G, 1, 2, 3, 4, -4 for the rise, 3 for the run, so -4/3. Now, when I look at this graph, it does appear that CD's line and EF's line look parallel. And if I look at CD and EF, they have the same slope. So when two lines are parallel, their slopes are congruent, or it could be that these are the exact same line right on top of each other, or it could be that they're both horizontal lines, because a horizontal line and another horizontal line would be parallel. Okay, now perpendicular would be the two lines that cross at a 90-degree corner. It does look like this line here, EG, is crossing at a 90-degree angle with both of these. So EG and EF, EG and CD. Now if I look at, for example, EG and EF, EF and EG, notice those slopes have the same numbers, they're just flip-flopped. And this is a positive slope for EF and a negative slope for EG. When you flip-flop them and they're opposite like that, their slopes are called opposite reciprocals. Okay, now we also found slopes by doing coordinate values to figure out the slope. So if you have to calculate the slope by hand, remember you're going to do y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And you're going to need this equation for your homework because it's not going to be laid out in a graph. So you'll have to plug in your coordinate points and then calculate what the slope is, just like we did up here. Typically it is a fraction, but if it came out to a whole number, remember, let's say for example, our slope came out to be 4. Well, that is the same as 4/1. Um, what else could I do an example of? Let's see here. Let's do the parallel or the perpendicular slope. So if I wanted a perpendicular slope to that, I would take this 4/1 and I would flip it. And because this is a positive, I would make this one a negative. All right, now looking at the next page here, it's asking us to take each of these points and figure out if they're parallel or perpendicular based on the line. So AB are these two. So for AB, I have the points -15, -6, and 6, 8. And x1, y1, x2, y2. So I'm going to plug it into that formula. 8 minus -6 over 6 minus -15. Remember, it's y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And I'm going to use my calculator to figure this out. I'm going to turn this on. 8 minus -6, that comes out to 14. Remember, minus a negative is also like adding a positive. 6 minus -15 comes out to 21. Again, minus negative looks like adding a positive. I need to simplify this. So what number divides into 14 and 21? Well, 14 divided by 7 is 2. 21 divided by 7 is 3. So here is my slope for segment AB, line AB. Now it says CD, so that's this guy here. and C is 4, -2, D is -410, x1, y1, x2, y2. I'm going to plug it into that slope formula again. So 10 minus -2 over -4 minus 4. Use my calculator. 10 minus -2 is 12. -4 minus 4 is -8. I got to simplify that. So I need a number that divides into both of those. 12 divided by 4 is 3. -8 divided by 4 is -2. All right, so there's my slope. Now it says, are these slopes parallel or perpendicular? So I've got two slopes that are different, 2/3 versus -3/2. The numbers are the same, they're just flipped over, and this one's positive and this one's negative. So these would be perpendicular lines. So AB is perpendicular to CD. All right, the task is to complete the in your formative packet, the algebra skills parallel and perpendicular lines assignment. You're going to find the slope of many different segments, and then you're going to out if any of them are parallel, meaning they have the same slope, or if any of them are perpendicular, they have those opposite reciprocal slopes. Once you're done with this, you can make sure that all your construction stuff is also complete.